NSW, at what age did you lose your virginity? If you could go back to that time, would you take it back? I was 25. The thirst was real. I regret nothing. 17. Nope. She was hot, lived in a trailer and looked really good naked. She was fun and sweet. 14. Lost it to my lesbian friend who said she wanted to see what it was like. Would not change a thing. I was 18 and on shrooms. I was so scared the entire time because I thought people were outside my house burning down the neighborhood. But no regrets. This is the best one. 21 and no, I wouldn't. I lost my virginity to my best friend and high school crush since I was 13. You give me hope. Cheers. I was 16 when lost it to a pretty girl I knew from camp a few years before then. I hadn't seen her for over a year and I was staying over her house watching Inception when she convinced me to stop watching even though I was enjoying it and come to her room with her. She talked me into making love to her. I was really uncomfortable and felt ashamed since she was goading me, asking me, "What are you, gay? What's wrong with you?" Immediately after making love, she called a guy she had been having a thing with, never did get all the details, and proceeded to rub it in his face. I felt used. I wish I hadn't lost my virginity to her, but what's done is done. I'm sorry, bro. No one should stop you from watching Inception. 22. Maybe. It was with one of the craziest human beings I'd ever known, but it was kind of worth it. But, frick, she was crazy. She gave me scabies, too. Well, that's not a common thing to get from lovemaking. 13. Yes, to the entire relationship. I wish I could take back every moment I spent with her. I've never hated anyone as much as I hate her now. Lost my virginity at 13. We broke up at 14 because, yes, she cheated on me. But that isn't why I hate her. In fact, I forgave her for that and we still talked in school occasionally. Then her new boyfriend sucker punched me one day after class for talking to his girlfriend. His punch wasn't as strong as he hoped and I chased his butt off campus. I got him suspended and the next day I was called into the principal's office. I found her, the principal and a sheriff's deputy, with cuffs in hand, waiting for me. She told them I raped her. She tried to have me branded as a debaucher and physical abuser and thrown in jail because I got her boyfriend a 3-day suspension. That is why I hate her. That is why I've hated her for the last 13 years. That is why I will hate her for the rest of my life. As I said earlier, I wish her a bitter and lonely end. I'm imagining myself time traveling and forcefully taking back my virginity from myself. I'd be so confused if a warp hole opened after I had made love for the first time and future me came running out yelling no, then violated me. I was 11. It was with my neighbor friend's sister. I think she was 10. It was awkward. It started with us just exploring our bodies and expanded from there. We were both quite physical but way inexperienced, obviously. When it happened, we were out by the tree in the front yard of our fourplex. We had put sheets up around the tree to create a fort. It was just my friend and his sister and me. I remember we were talking about pee and I think he brought in a pee magazine of his stepdad's, which certainly got us going. We spoke of doing stuff and then she agreed to putting my, in her mouth. We started with that as her brother watched, which was weird, but then we agreed to go up into my room and that's when we did it. Her brother again watched, which, in retrospect, is absolutely awful, but we did it a few more times over the next few months and then they moved. I feel guilty even today. She had leukemia at the time and that made my guilt worse. As I got older, I hated myself more for it. I did search her on Facebook and she's still alive, which is awesome. She's also really close with her brother. No comment on that. I have a question, but 20 and no, it makes no difference to my life. 15. And my first is no longer with us. No, I wouldn't change anything even if it does make me feel indifferent. Your username makes me raise an eyebrow. I was 14 and yes, I would absolutely take it back. I went out with him for about a month and the day after we did the deed, I found out that he was cheating on his GF at the time with me. My parents found out soon afterwards by her calling the house. I was 17 and I don't regret it. I never really valued my virginity to begin with. Throwaway. I lost my virginity when I was 16. I am male and was in theater. Had everyone around me convince me I was gay. Rumors were started. Eventually everyone just assumed. One person I had looked up to, sporty guy I admired because I always wanted to be into sports, came out directly to me around that time, and we ended up making love. I really wasn't into it. I think I had been convinced that I was supposed to be gay and that was who I was. My first time with him was weirdly comfortable, but years later I do regret it. I am straight, or whatever because frick labels, and soon be engaged to a beautiful woman. I don't even know what I was thinking back then, but it's something I'll never tell anyone. Could never tell my future wife. You should at least be able to tell your wife, man. I was 15, and no, we were in a steady relationship, had discussed it 3 weeks or so beforehand. We used protection and trusted each other. Aside from being young, we were the adult educator's dream. 21 and yes, I would have done it sooner. I was 22 when I lost my virginity. I wouldn't change a thing. When I was 8 years old, on my birthday, I went to one of my friends' houses to play together. Little did I know that play together could have some not so innocent strings attached. It was a Wednesday afternoon. I know it was a Wednesday because it was my birthday in 2002. Now, my friend, let's call her Taylor, because that's her name. She was a nice girl and she was a very spontaneous person, which is to say she had no self-control. She showed me her tea. I played with it. I showed her my dong. She played with it. She knew what lovemaking was because her parents taught her, so she suggested we do it. I asked what it was. She explained what it was and likened a dong to a snail. I didn't really understand, but I wondered if my balls were the shell. We tried, but I wasn't hard enough and it wasn't lubricated enough. She realized it wasn't wet enough and took the initiative to cover it with her whole mouth, which solved both issues. It was then inserted into her tea. It went in smoothly. There was no thrusting. We didn't know there should have been. Within a few moments I went soft. The snail had retreated out of the 8-year-old's tea and into its shell. The lovemaking ended here. TLDR. Had made love to an 8-year-old. I feel dirty after reading this. 14 years old. Yes and no. He didn't use protection and believed the pull-out method was good enough. Became pregnant and dealt with a lot of emotional trauma because of it. His response to it all when I broke the news was drink liquor and fall down some stairs. Now I have a 5-year-old son who is my entire world and motivates me in my pre-medical studies. I don't know where I would be if this never happened to me, and honestly, the trauma and awfulness I dealt with shapes who I am to be more successful, responsible, and independent. 13 and yes, I would take away that whole wretched week. He was 19/20 IDK and coaxed me into it. I knew better, but felt obligated to entertain this idiot, as my BFF was in the next room with her 20-plus-year-old boyfriend. It was an awful experience. It hurt so bad. Afterward I found out he told everyone I was not a virgin but was a loose S and other choice words. That night was the beginning of a long road of poor choices fueled by embarrassment, self-loathing and a desperation of acceptance and love. Yes and no. I was 14 and yes, regret because I ran away from home and went to my BF's house. The guy was a terrible person and his dong was 8 freaking inches. Yes, I measured it. It hurt and then he got really butthurt when I told him that I didn't come. Anyways, he made me walk home in the middle of the night over a freaking mountain. 6-mile trek. Very traumatizing having to hide from cars by jumping into bushes because I thought my mom called the cops. I don't regret it because having done it and realizing how much I hated it kept me from doing dumb crap in HS just to get laid. So I saved myself tons of heartache and trash talk. 18. And nope. People always warned me it would be super painful and unpleasant, but nope. He was super sweet about it and made sure I was enjoying myself. I'd say I have a pleasant memory of losing my virginity. I was 20. My boyfriend, 21, was a virgin too. We ended up getting married. Would never change a thing. We're kinda great together. 22. Her 19. Lost virginity together and married 22 years. Still going strong. I had just turned 18. And no, I'm marrying her this summer. Talk about finishing quick. 24 and still virgin. Had 2 chances to lose it in the past. but couldn't arrange a place. Now, I've a 3-bedroom apartment, but no one has company. 22 and still counting. I'm available girls. Got that smiley. 13. He was 17. Yes, I would take it back. That's a weird way to phrase it. I was kind of tricked into thinking I enjoyed it. It took me a few months to figure out why I felt really fricked up. I can tell the story if anyone cares. I'm down to listen. I was 31. It's not that I didn't have many chances. I just wanted to wait to be with someone I really liked and when it would feel right. I waited, and it was great. Would I take back the time I had with her? Never. But if I could go in the Wayback Machine, I'd tell myself to lose it at an earlier age and enjoy your 20s. Not that my 30s are going too shabby. Semicolon. I was 16 and she was 17. We lost our virginity to each other. We had only been dating for a month when I brought it up and she said she was ready. Didn't expect her to say that, so I was excited and I planned everything out. No, I don't regret it because 6 years later I'm typing this out while she's laying down next to me, watching TV on our couch. Same thing here, except it's 12 years later. We've been married for 9, and we're expecting our second child in April. 12 and yes. I was physically abused, so if physical gay, age 8. Personally I don't count non-consensual. Consensual, I'm heteroflexible, honestly, age 11. I know that sounds crazy, but kids know what making love is, and I was already experienced, in a warped way. I had known her since I was 5, we were best friends, and weren't even thinking about relationships at that age. She actually was the one to initiate. We had both always known it was going to happen eventually between us. We went off to school, but when we became old enough to date, high school, we both became very tense when the other had a suitor. We eventually realized that we weren't working as just friends. Okay, she figured it out before me. She's sleeping next to me. We are married. 16 years. I'm very happy. Married to the girl you banged at age 11. Congrats, man. Our caveman ancestors would nod in approval. And I'm not saying that to be a dong. Cavemen would legit be all over that life choice. 18 and we're still dating. 8 years strong. I was 19. There's only one thing I would change. I actually wish I hadn't waited so long. I wish I hadn't been shamed out of making love my whole life by parents and a community that taught me that making love was shameful if you weren't married, and that as a female I wasn't supposed to have a gender-based identity. Until the day I got married, of course, then the switch could flip and I was immediately supposed to be a freak in bed. TL. DR. Making love is awesome. Don't let anyone influence your opinion on it. About 26-27 I think. I'm 24 in a couple of weeks. I lost it at 18, and it was technically a violation because I said no many times. He wouldn't take no for an answer. Heck yes, I would take it back if I could. I regretted it more than anything in my whole entire life, and felt completely destroyed and scarred emotionally afterwards. Because of this, I have had a very unhealthy relationship due to lovemaking. Internet hugs. Big ones from Australia. I'm still a virgin. I'm a virgin by choice. Not my own choice, but 3 billion women can't be wrong. I recently lost it and I just turned 19. I wouldn't take it back. Good and fun experience. I was 15 and he was my husband. Boyfriend at the time. I know I was too young for making love, but I honestly knew I was going to marry him, so it didn't matter. We are still extremely in love 7 years later, and he is still the only dong I have ever known. I plan to keep it that way. He is so much more than just a dong. 17 and kinda. I had sauerkraut that night and farted at every thrust. If you look objectively, I was 13. If you judge by consent, I was 16. I'd most likely go back in time and take it all back. Both events had left me pretty shaken and fricked up. I was 14. Wouldn't take it back. We were young and naive, but she was my world for 2 years. Broke it off freshman year of high school about a year later. Didn't really stay in contact for a while until our friend groups kind of merged by the last year or two of high school. Saw each other around a lot, and while we weren't great friends, We always had that special sort of bond. It wasn't just because we were each other's first in that respect. Physical intimacy isn't that big of a deal. We were also each other's first for every awkward teenage dating experience out there. Like we went through all of our coming of age experiences together. I don't think age matters as much if it's with a decent person. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.